Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Ruach Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the whole free elect. Beginning with the 144,000. Shalom. So we're going to title this lesson, The Road to Heaven Feels Like Hell. Once again, the road to heaven feels like hell. It's not going to be easy to get into the kingdom of heaven. It's not going to be easy to receive that salvation. We got to go through the trials and tribulations, the afflictions, the sufferings, the sacrifices, the spiritual fire, the straight gate, all these things, And I'm going to just read this real quick, Matthew 24:13 say, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved, man. So you have to endure these temptations, these afflictions, these trials and tribulations, everything that come with this gospel, will come with the truth, will come with this marathon. And you have to endure all these things until the very end, including faith, including hope, including all that, man. Endurance. Why else would the Most High say he get that endure to the end? Yahushua say he that endure to the end, the same shall be saved. Because you have to endure these things. If it was easy, it wouldn't be no endurance. We got to go through the spiritual fire. We got to go through the trials and tribulations. That's part of getting through the straight gate. And that word straight, S-T-R-A-I-T, it sounds like, difficulty, dangerous, things of that such, right? I just bring that right here. You got Matthew 7 and 13, and it reads, say, enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth unto destruction, and many there be who is going therein. So it's going to be many people that go through that wide and broad gate. Because why? It's easy to go through that gate. That's the easiest gate to go in through. You ain't got to squeeze by. You ain't got to squeeze through. You can walk normally through it. And you walking through that broad and, and wide gate, that's what, the people that walking through that gate are the ones that love this world. They love their life. They love being wicked. They love their iniquities, things of that such, right? Because it's easy to be wicked and it's sinful and lustful kingdom. But verse 14 said, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few that be that find of it. So that straight and narrow gate, that straight and narrow path, it's hard to get through that. It's very narrow. And we're going to get in that the book of 2 Ezra, the 7th chapter. But that straight and narrow path, man, it's hard to get through. It's hard to stay on that straight and narrow path, man. So therefore, there's going to be a lot of people that fall out, or turn back around, or things of that such, right? Because they're not going to be able to handle the things that come with that straight and narrow path. They can handle the things that go with the broad and wide gate. And that's easy to handle. But it's hard to get through that straight and narrow path, man. But like I say, and few that be that find of it. And we know that few going to be that elect. They're going to be the ones that find it and get all the way through the end. There's going to be a lot of people. They ain't going to have that faith and that hope to get through it. And like the elect, they see the light on the other end, but the other people, they don't. And I just read Luke 13:24. It says, strive to enter in at the straight gate. For many, I say unto you, will seek to enter in and shall not be able. So like it says, man, you have to strive to enter in at the straight gate. You got to strive to enter in at this straight and narrow gate, man. He say, for many, I say unto you, will seek to enter in and shall not be able. So there's going to be a lot of people that is going to seek to enter in at the straight and narrow path, man. But they ain't going to be able to, Because why? It wasn't meant for them to go down that path. But the elect, they're meant to go down that path, right? So let's go to 2 Ezra, the 7th chapter. We'll start at verse 3, and it reads, and I said, speak on, my power. Then said he unto me, the sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But put the case the entrance were narrow and like a river. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the bride? Come on, man. Verse 6. He said, there is also another thing. A city is builded, and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things. And that's the kingdom of heaven. It said of marvelous things, glorious things, you know. But let's continue on. Verse 7, he said, the entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water. So he explaining this straight and narrow path. He said it's set in a dangerous place. Hey, whether you can fall, if you fall on the right side, it is like falling into a pit of fire, basically. He's saying on the left a deep water. Verse 8, he's saying and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. So this how narrow this path is, man. That only one man can go in it at one time. But that broad and wide gate, hey, multiple people can, and they can walk side by side. But it's straight and narrow and dangerous path, hey, but only one man can walk there at a time. Continuing on, verse 9, he said, this city now we're giving it to a man for an inheritance. If he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? So this is going back into the title at hand, man. The road to heaven feels like hell. Hey, you got to go through the dangers, and you got to go through the dangers, part before you can get to the great part, before you can get to the good part, man. Like they say, man, things get worse before everything gets good, man. And that's how it's going to be, man. All hell is going to break loose until we get to salvation. All hell is going to break loose until we're beating up into the damn chairs. It's not going to be a cakewalk. We're not going to be living comfortably during these troubled times. Things like that. We're going to be living very uncomfortably, survival mode. And etc. Things that go within that category. But you gotta go through that dangers, and you gotta go through that hard time before you can get through before you can get to that great glory. You know what I mean? Like I say, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? And I said, it is so, Lord. Then said unto me, even so also is Israel's portion. So when you read on down, it just show you how the interest, was wide and broad, for all of Israel, but us, Adam had transgressed the Heavenly Father's statutes, laws, commandments. That's when the path had got straight and narrow, man. So now we got to work for it. It was supposed to be given it to us, but when they went off, at the Most High, you like, man, fuck that. I'm gonna make it straight and narrow. I'm gonna make it, dangerous. I'm gonna make it difficult to get into the kingdom of heaven. So that's why we don't have it easy. That's why I gotta feel like hell, man. I bring this out real quick. Just because we already in 2nd Ezra, so 2nd Ezra 16th chapter. Get straight to the point. Verse 73. He said, then shall it be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. Here, he said, the fire, here, O ye my beloved, said the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. So the Most High is already showing you that the chosen have to be tried as the gold in the fire, man. You have to be tried. You have to be tested. You think you're just going to pass the test or pass the exam or pass to the next grade without taking any tests? Without having to go through any, work lessons and exams and things like that? No, man. That's impossible. You have to be tried, man. You have to be tried. Get one more precept. Zechariah 13, and I start at verse 8, and it reads, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, said the Lord Yahweh, 2 parts then shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. So the 2 parts, talking about the two-thirds of Israel. We know that the 2/3 of Israel are going to be destroyed for their wickedness, for their sins, for their iniquities. He said, but the third shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part through the fire and will refine them as silver is refined. So they're talking about the lake of fire. And they're talking about the same fire that 2/3. No, they're talking about the spiritual fire. The spiritual fire that the elect have to go through. I said that spiritual fire is you being tested. Your testimony. Seeing if you 10 toes down. Seeing you going to give up or are you going to endure. Continuing on, he said, refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord Yahweh Bahashim Hashai is my power. So only the elect is going to call on Yahweh Bahashim Hashai during those days, when they're being tried, when all hell's breaking loose. Only the elect is going to endure to the end. Only the elect is going to receive that first dominion and of that salvation. Only the elect is going to get beaten up in the chariots. So we have to know and understand that we got to go through the trials and tribulations, the temptations, the afflictions, the sufferings, everything that comes with the kingdom of heaven, man. It's not going to be easy at all. I'm telling you, if it was easy, a lot of people would be getting saved, man. We know that only a very few are going to be saved. We have to know and understand that. And I was going through the spirit. I think this. I thought I had a precept. What I bring out Matthew, Zechariah, Luke. Not too second Ezra. But y'all get the point. Everything that come with the afflictions, things that it says. I read this real quick. 1 Thessalonians 3 and 4. He said, for verily, when we were with you, we told you before that we should suffer tribulation, even as it came to pass, and So they even tell you, man, just like we said before, we got to go through the sufferings, we got to go through the tribulations. When you come into the truth, it may be a ticket to life, but in order to get that ticket, you gotta do the things that's set before that. There's like a golden ticket. But that golden ticket not just going to be given it to you. It's not going to just be handed to you and say, here. Nah, you gotta do this. You gotta do the hard work before you can become that boss. You think people just going to jobs, you think they just become a boss out of nowhere? You think they just become a manager out of nowhere? These big time jobs? You gotta work as a regular employee for some years. Get your ass cussed out by the boss and you manage it for a certain amount of time until you been upgraded, or until you been, until you leveled up to that boss and manager status. Nothing's never given. You reap what you sow. You put the work in. You call upon Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. You get through the hard shit that you gotta get through. And then, Lord, you part of the elect. You doing all the right things. You part of the elect. Those are the signs. But you ain't putting no work. You ain't trying to, you ain't got nothing on your resume. But you trying to sit here and try to be a damn manager for a damn big CEO company. How the hell that go? You don't got nothing on your resume. You ain't did no work. So, man, Lord willing, this is an edifying lesson. That's all I can thank her through the spirit. Once again, I like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, a great millstone, and shalom to the whole field. Shalom.